I want you to breathe. I want you to breathe. I want you to breathe.
Hello, friends. We're back. We're Black and Curious. I'm Kandron,
What's up? It is Deja.
and we're back. If you've never been here before, we do a cross section of pop culture in real life, and we have some interesting conversations about things that are happening in our world. And we just got finished with a series of conversations about the relationship with yourself. So we wanted to just do a little quick recap because it was quite long.
Yeah.
Typically we have maybe 4 episodes, and I think this one is rounding out about 8, possibly 10, depending on how we, add to it or whatever.
No
So
lies told. But to our defense, we had 2 guests in this block, which is not a norm.
well, I don't think it's a defense needed. I just think that we had a lot to say, damn it, and we kept saying it. And so I think, do you have any like takeaways or anything that you want me to start?
Coming off the heels of our last conversation with our guest that'll be up before this.
Mm-hmm.
So that was with Christina. Um I think a lot of it in terms of going through your own self exploration and figuring out like who you are and how you want to show up in the world and how that translates into your relationships and all that jazz. Um, my biggest takeaway is that you already know.
I love that.
You already know. The world outside of you tries to tell you that you don't, which is what confuses us along the way. But you already know.
Yeah. I think that was definitely a takeaway, especially with the conversation with Catherine, where she really
Yes.
talked about, just tapping in.
Read us down.
And yeah, Red Cat. Hey, Red Cat. I think my biggest takeaway is that there isn't one way to go about this work.
Yeah.
I appreciated that we had different guests and different types of interesting conversations and things I've never heard of. And it's not always just, I mean, we talk about therapy pretty incessantly over here,
We
but
do.
it's not always just, talking it out and all of that. Some of it's like, there may be spiritual resources, there may be other types of resources that are, interdisciplinary, like what Christina does. And I think those are always very interesting to me to hear just a different perspective and something that I've never heard and thought about before.
Yeah, I would agree. I think too, I would add that there's a belief for some people that therapy just isn't for everybody. And like me personally, I am not of that belief. I think that therapy is just like dating, and that you have to find the right, what is it, right lid for your pie or right top for your pie, whatever the phrase is from Demetria.
Mm-hmm.
And it's no different than in therapy. You sometimes you just be finding people that's a mismatch.
Yeah,
So um to the other disciplines that we've kind of talked through with Catherine, who is a life coach, and Christina, who's a human design coach. They come from 2 different perspectives, but they are still within the mental health field. So in some sort of way, you're still working on your psyche in terms of how you see the world and see yourself.
yeah.
I think for me, like the biggest thing is just like having acceptance and grace for yourself too.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's my second takeaway, is through this conversation we've found a lot of um acceptance and grace in the ways in which we show up, because we were affirmed through Catherine that we already know. And then Can hasn't done her human design chart yet, but she's going to. Through Christina, we were even further affirmed that we already know, but then there was also other, like for me, other key pieces that solidified that knowing. So if you are familiar with human design, I'm a manifesting generator. And the very basic definition for that is, for me, I will see something in my mind, and then I'll or have like come up with the idea, and then I'll create it out into the world. And having that understanding, the way I move through the world is in response to, but in order for me to respond to other things, I have to respond firstly to myself. and what I'm feeling, and then allow myself to move forward in whatever direction that is the flow for me.
Yeah. And I would say my last takeaway is sort of, you know, different areas of your life you manifest differently. Like
Mm-hmm.
you show up differently in different areas of your life. So, and I think we touched on that a little bit with our conversation with Christina, but also with Sharita talking through, you know.
Yeah. We had 3 guests. Damn, I forgot. She was in that block too.
Yeah. Just talking through, you know, getting to know yourself while you're making transitions and out on the road, and how that looks with career and all of those things. So, you know, you may have some things figured out with your interpersonal relationships, but you may need some help in your career, or you may need some help with dating, or, you know, whatever your specific mix is. But like, we're all out here doing the best we can in all of these areas of our life. But there are resources out here to help us with whatever it is that we're going through, and whatever feels true to you we have resources. There are resources out there, and hopefully we were able to point you in the direction of some interesting people that we, you know and have met. And hopefully you'll use their resources. We'll drop everything down in the description box for them. And yeah, I think that's my biggest takeaway.
Well, there you have it, folks. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this very lengthy exploration of self. Drop down in the comments and let us know what your thoughts are and how
if you haven't watched all the episodes, we will leave the playlist up here. So you can go back and watch anything you may have missed. And like I said, we'll put it all in a playlist for you.
Yes. I forgot where I was going, but we will leave everybody's information, all of the guests that we've had, as well as any additional resources we might come up with that you guys could use. Make sure you are following us on all of our social media. Check out blackandcurious.com. There'll be a interesting piece for me on the 1st, so please do. And we'll see you in our next conversation. Bye.
Bye.